didn't, I'm back on my, like, being dissatisfied with every movie that I see. I don't know if I'm being extra picky lately or if like there's just nothing that's, wowing me. I don't know. That said, the first one that I saw was Nicolas Winding Refn's The Neon Demon. So I saw Drive in theaters 4 times. I really loved Drive. I've seen Drive many times. Um, I did not see Only God Forgives, so I know that one was very divisive. Which brings us to The Neon Demon, which got booed at Cannes. Um, but I love Elle Fanning, and she is the star. I actually met her once. She is a wonderful, beautiful woman and a very talented actress, and I am just such a fan. So I decided to go see this movie, even though I was like pretty sure I wasn't gonna like it. Um, and I am still sort of unsure how I felt because there's moments of that it's great. There's moments of black comedy that are like the kind of black comedy I really dig. And there's some digs at Los Angeles in general and some sort of just Los Angeles things that I thought really worked. Like at one point there's a bit with a mountain lion that I don't think would ever really happen, but at the same time, Los Angeles' fascination with the mountain lions is really fascinating. Fascination is fascinating. Just because there's so few, and like we had the one that was tracked, and then he tried to cross the freeway and got hit by a car and died, and it was really, really sad. Um, so just throwing like that whole thing with the mountain lions into this place where that's not even the most dangerous thing in her world was interesting, and I appreciated that. Um, that said, like I don't think it offered particularly great insights into the fashion industry, mostly because I'm not sure that he actually talked to anyone who works in the fashion industry, and so it's all like um, conjecture. None of the characters felt very fleshed out or real. Um, they're all archetypes. Or not even archetypes, stereotypes. They're all stereotypes, um, including the predatory lesbian, which is like my least favorite trope. And it goes like super into territory that I was like, oh my god, you just did that. Um, it was kind of gross. And there's parts of Fanning's character that are interesting. Like she thinks she's untalented and she knows this, but she knows that she's beautiful. And so she's using that um, and has this natural beauty. And so there's a debate. Well, okay. So first, then there's a man telling her that she's probably more talented than she thinks. And that's a moment that I sort of loved and hated because I do think lots of people have talents that they don't um, know they have. But I also don't like the idea that a teen girl needs some creepy dude she met on the internet to tell her that she's a special sunflower on the inside. You know what I mean? And maybe being beautiful and modeling is her talent. And that's another thing where that whole aspect of modeling being not a talent and not an actual skill kind of peeved me a little bit. Because there's some vapidity in that industry, especially if you like take America's Next Top Model to heart. But like some of those women that do this, they are artists and they are savvy businesswomen, and they collaborate with these photographers and designers. And there's more to it, I think, than this movie is giving it credit. Um, so then there's the debate between natural beauty and plastic surgery and what kind of beauty is really beauty, and is beauty all that we care about. And like there's the scene where the one designer is telling the dude like yeah, you think that you like her for what she really is on the inside, but would you have looked at her? Would you have given her a second look if she wasn't beautiful? And it's like quasi deep because it's like, yeah, we are as a species attracted to aesthetics, um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is immediately like there are some sometimes you see someone because you like them aesthetically, you talk to them and you're like, wow, okay, I don't like you anymore, you're an idiot. And sometimes you don't go up immediately to someone because they aren't aesthetically something you're attracted to, and then you find them interesting, and that's sort of the chaos of being human. But I don't think he like delved deep enough into that. It was sort of like here's a bunch of cookie cutter or not cookie cutter, fortune cookie like truisms or whatever. Speaking of which, that line was spoken by Alessandro Nivola, who am I saying his name right? Who is not credited at all. Just he's not even on the Wikipedia page. Um, but I love him. So yeah, Alessandro Nivola. So like as soon as he popped up, I was like, "You are not on the cast list. I love you." And he gives a wonderfully creepy performance, especially if you have seen Ginger and Rosa, because in Ginger and Rosa he plays Elle Fanning's dad. So I found that interesting. Um, Also, so there's moments where the male gaze is shown as its creepiness. Alessandro, oh, he's on the Wikipedia page. Alessandro Nivola's fashion designer is presented as a creepster for the way he is gazing at Elle Fanning as this model. The photographer, played by Desmond Harrington, also presented as a total fucking creeper. Side note, Desmond Harrington is in Taken, the 2002 Alien miniseries, and he's very good in it. You should watch it. So you get these moments where what Refn is very critical of the male gaze, and then you have these shots of like women in the shower rubbing up against each other that are super male gazy, and it's like, was it supposed to be ironic, or does he just not? Is he just unable to follow through with themes and threads that he's pulling up? I don't know. And then this literal like people eating each other thing, that was a spoiler, I'm sorry. It just felt like it was really heavy-handed. And if it was supposed to be camp, it didn't go far enough into camp. Um, like those camp masters make trash, and they know they're making trash, and they revel in trash. And Refn continually tries to say like, this is art, not trash, but he's really making trash, and he needs to like embrace the trash and go further into just making trash. And then I think he'll be a great filmmaker. Um, so that's where I'm at with that. But I just love Elle Fanning. So if you're an Elle Fanning fan, you'll enjoy this. The other film I saw was called The Fits, and it was written and directed by Anna Rose Holmer. Oh, going back to the Neon Demon for a second, there were two screenwriters on it that were women, and I'm like, what? Because none of the women felt like real women, and yet there were women who worked on the screenplay, and that just like does not compute. Which brings us to The Fits, which was written and directed by Anna Rose Holmer, who by a story by Anna Rose Holmer, Selah Davis, and Lisa Karuf. It's about it's set in Cleveland, and it's about a girl who, with her brother, is doing boxing at the gym, but she becomes fascinated by the dance troupe across the way, and so she decides to join them, and slowly starts to sort of fit in with them and make friends, but then some of the dancers start having these mysterious fits, and then some of the other ones have fits, and then it's like she falls out, and it's sort of about adolescent isolation and this adolescent desire to fit in, and whether you ever really do fit in, and whether people make things up in order to seem like they are like everybody else. It reminded me a lot of Carol Morley's The Falling, which I watched last year, which had a very similar high concept about people having fainting spells, and whether the uh, girls were really actually fainting or if it was mass hysteria. And much like both these films, neither of them really explain whether or not it's mass hysteria or an actual illness. What I did appreciate about the fits was that there were several moments that really felt true to like being a young girl. There's a moment where she lets someone paint her nails, but then she starts picking the nail polish off. As someone who always tried to be like that nail polish person and then never liked it, I can tell you that's a real feeling. I'm like, paint my nails, let's be friends, and then you're like, why did I let her paint my nails? Same with a moment with a tattoo where she lets them put it on her, but really she's just like, why is this tattoo on me? There's also a great moment where she scares one of the girls, and the girl wets herself out of fright, and then she helps her like wash her clothes. And I never did that like in with somebody, but I was definitely as a young person, when I got scared, I wet myself. That was the kind of like, I just didn't have control of my bladder, and I don't know if boys do that or not, but girls definitely do that. And then you're like, shit, what am I gonna do? Confessions with Ms. Mariah E. Gates. So I thought there were aspects of this that really, really worked. And it's definitely, the star is Royalty Hightower, and she's really, really great, and just a very strong screen presence. And the film follows her. And what you can really tell from a film about a teenage girl from a female perspective, as opposed to film about a teenage girl, because Elle Fanning is supposed to be 16 in The Neon Demon, is in the fits, there is no male gaze. The camera never pans in gross ways. The camera follows her, but in a very as if she is the camera almost sort of way, or at least she has a camera like stuck to her back. But it's never objectifying, and it's never it's just there recording. It's not sort of adding this layer of voyeurism in a way. Like, I feel like there's a difference between watching something and being a voyeur. I think you can observe without adding that layer of creepiness that comes with the term voyeur, or as we use it. And I think a film like The Fits follows a whole bunch of girls without ever once feeling like the camera is objectifying them, or the camera is in the way, But what didn't sound me with The Fits was that I always get a little uncomfortable when there's a story set in a community and it's made by someone who's not of that community. In this case, this is like all of the characters are African American. It's in an African American community center, and all of the writers are white people. And Anna Rose Holmer, I believe, is a Quaker. So, not that Quaker means anything, but Quakers have a very different way of growing up, I think. So part of me wants to be like, they found a dance group, so a lot of the interactions is just very true to them. But at the same time, I just always think it's probably some inner thoughts that if someone had been raised in a similar sort of environment, they would probably have like insights they would have that a white girl just isn't going to have and isn't going to bring to it. So that's sort of it goes with the same way where I feel like when men make films about women, it's like you're not going to have the same psychological insights to this situation because you just aren't in the head of a woman.